All right, well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to our August Safety Council meeting. Thank you to those who have joined us here this morning. As far as announcements for the Fostoria Safety Council, I really don't have anything in addition to what was already in the August newsletter. Hard to believe that the September one will be coming out here in just a couple weeks, so we'll have some more updates, webinars and learning opportunities included in that. And just a note for the group, that our next month's speaker, our meeting is September 15th, and that speaker is Alfred Craig from the JDI group, and the presentation will be about Arc Flash. So make sure you mark your calendars for that. We'll send invites out. And then also in October will be the Ohio BWC mega meeting, which will take the place of our regular Safety Council meeting. So just note that that is October 6th. So it's a different day of the week. We always meet the third Wednesday, but that is October 6th. So I'll send out reminders for that as well, but just a heads up on that. So immediately following this meeting, if you are on the steering committee, I ask you just to stay logged in just for a couple minutes. We have a couple of things to discuss. And other than that, Dave, do you have any updates from the Ohio BWC?
I have a few things. Hello, everybody. BWC services are still online. They're continuing as they had in the past. There is now where we could go out in the field depending on the nature of the request. So feel free to reach out to myself or Sarah through a point of contact for any of the representation that you're looking for service. I want to make note, there's an upcoming 11th annual Fallen Workers Memorial at 10 o'clock on Thursday, September 2nd, down at the William Green's Building auditorium, and also it will be on the Ohio channel doing live stream. And also make mention that they had catastrophic tragedy within Ohio recently within this month, where they had three brothers working on their family farm who had died while working on a storage manure pit on their family farm. And so there are hazards out there that you may be working around every day. And so due diligence and just situational awareness before you commit to a particular task or job function, just make sure that everything is in line for your safety. Upcoming Ohio Safety Congress 22 is moving forward. The dates is March 9th, 10th, 2022. That is a Wednesday and a Thursday during the week, midweek, and they're looking to offer 30 to 40 educational sessions that are going to last 1 hour, 60 minutes. That's going to be within a 4-track curriculum, which consists of business strategy, professional development, innovation, and technology, and then governance and regulatory. Upcoming BWC training. Please know that all the classes you should pre-register ahead of time. There's weekly webinars, the ones that are remaining for the month of August. August 24th is BWC transitional work programs and updates. And virtual classes remaining is August 23rd and 4th, confined space, assessment and work. And then August 30th and 31st, electrical safety in the workplace through insight and implementation of NFPA 70E. There's also online e-courses that you can do. Currently, there's 17 classes that are being offered. They range from 30 minutes to 2 hours. There's quite a few of them. And so, as an example, dealing with difficult people in the workplace is 30 minutes. Food service safety for a session that lasts about 2 hours. And the other thing that I have, last and finally, there's a grant, workplace wellness grant. It's something that they're now taking applications for. Participant employers may receive $300 per participating employee over a 4-year period, up to a maximum of $15,000 per policy. I'm going to forward you my notes to Sarah, so if you want any of this information, she can forward it to you, or go to the BWC website, and everything there that I spoke of is on the website. That's all I have.
Thanks, Dave. All right. Well, without further ado here this morning, it is my pleasure to introduce our presenters today, Autumn Klaus and Shelley Biggert, who are with us representing Hope in Fostoria. So welcome, ladies.
Thank you for having us. So hopefully our technology will work here. I'm going to go ahead and do some introductions if that's okay. I'll go ahead and introduce Shelley first. So she is our new part-time director of Hope in Fostoria, which is a community prevention coalition, which was a grassroots effort to address substance abuse issues by fostering education and awareness within the Fostoria greater community. In her new role since July of 2021, she directs and oversees Hope with support from our volunteer board, as well as CARSA of Seneca County and Lotus Recovery House in Tiffin. I'm sorry, it already looks like this presentation is advancing on its own, so I'm going to go ahead and stop it and just do the slides on my own. Sorry about that. Shelley has more than 20 years of related experience and most recently served as an integrated care coordinator for Firelands Counseling and Recovery Services in Tiffin. She's a licensed professional clinical counselor and obtained a license to evaluate and treat clients who are dealing with behavioral disorders and addiction problems. Her and her husband, Rodney, reside in New Regal and have 2 sons. And Rodney is also a fabulous musician, for which we all were able to witness and view when we were at the Back to School Bash last week. Was that last week? It seems like it was so far ago, but it is last week. And I'm not sure. Give me 1 second. I want to make sure that you all can see me, because I can't see the. If you end up not being able to see me, just give me a shout. I think I'm in front of the camera. My name is Autumn Klaus, and I have been with Hope since the inception. We're a volunteer board, both personally and professionally. So professionally, I work at Manel. I've been there for 7 years and was at the hospital 8 years before that. And then a small little company called Alpha Coatings in town for 11 years. So I've worked my entire 20-plus career in human resources. So I've dealt with substance abuse from that vantage point, as well as losing someone to my first cousin to a heroin overdose. So I come to the board and my involvement from both a personal and professional standpoint, which we honestly, all of our board members have one or both. So we were founded in 2017 through a joint effort with the Aquinas Club and United Way. Again, after our community, really what we saw is that Fostoria was not necessarily taking an active role around education with the heroin epidemic. So it's really how we got started, and then expanded with local prevention and education efforts, and then obtain our nonprofit status to develop our current community prevention coalition. In July, we entered into a formal agreement with the Mental Health and Recovery Services Board to oversee all the programs that I mentioned when I was going through Shelley's bio, as well as hiring her part-time, and I'm excited to say she is probably going to be full-time here very soon. So we're excited about what we're going to be able to accomplish with her in the roles. So jumping headfirst into fiscal year 22, where we are going is to continue to formalize our coalition structure and our staff and board development. Right now, I believe we are over 15 active board members. So any of those of you who served, I'm actually going to have a slide where I show you who all those individuals are. And I'm always hesitant to do that because it seems that, it's a lot of the same folks, but I've served at one point in time on 6 different boards. And this is probably the most actively engaged, diverse board that I've had the pleasure to work with. So it's, again, exciting about the makeup of our board and all the things that we're doing. We're moving into strategic planning session next month, where we're going to look for ways to expand our reach and things that we're doing with our partners, both old and new, growing our online presence. I know that I've already been contacted by employers with employees that are coming forward with substance abuse issues, either they're internally with an employee, or what we see more often is the grandparents that are taking care of grandchildren because of a substance abuse issue, for example, and they don't know where to turn, or they don't understand the resources that are out there to help them. So we're attempting on our Hope Facebook page and our website to really just connect folks with those resources. Also very excited about the launch of our Drug-Free Clubs of America, and I will talk a little bit more about that here in a moment for our 9th and 12th grade students at Fostoria City Schools. And we also developed and deployed a worksite survey in November of 2020 that we are still working on. So we sent an online survey to 200 plus Fostoria Chamber and FEDC members. We received a small response, unfortunately, but with the current state and environment, and folks are just so busy, and with the pandemic and the things that folks were struggling with, we anticipated probably a lower response, and we've discussed potentially doing that again, but we asked questions around, as you can see there, whether employers had an employee assistance program for their employees, if they believed that they had employees that had substance abuse or mental health issues, or family members. 44% said they believe mental health is the biggest issue facing their employees, and you can see there that 72% say they have issues with hiring candidates that are drug-free, which is another positive around our drug-free clubs of America and the students and what we're doing there. So survey action plan, we developed a committee to follow up with those respondents and develop an action plan. We've tossed around training and a speakers bureau and possibly workplace displays. What we really want to know is how we can, so we've connected with the schools, we've connected with the community, we're going to continue that connectivity, but we're also attempting to do, again, my background in history and HR is really how do we connect with the workplace. There's grants and dollars and funding out there, so how can we support businesses, and what are their needs, what resources do they need, and focusing again on prevention. Even as we developed our board and the prevention coalition, we kept coming back to the only way to solve this epidemic is to prevent it from happening in the first place. So our drug-free clubs, again, I couldn't be more excited about this. I grew up in Fostoria. It's where I've always been. I went to Fostoria City Schools and graduated here. So to have this within our school systems, and my daughter was the first one to sign up, so I'm gonna hold on to that forever as a freshman. So she'll be part of the first graduating class in 4 years. But we're working with the administrators there closely with the counselors as well, and those that are dealing with the youth that may be impacted by substance abuse or mental health issues, and even those that are not. So anyone can join the club. We've been working with youth to youth, hosting Red Ribbon Week activities since the inception of Hope, and we've done a couple of different things. I'm not sure if you can see it, but I've got a bracelet, a Dare to Say No bracelet, and Drug-Free Clubs of America is red, white, and blue. So we're using that tagline as we move forward. It's an evidence-based program. It's nationally recognized. In fact, some of you may have heard of it because Tiffin Sentinel has actually had the program in place for several years, and it's funded and supported by grant dollars and their foundation in Tiffin. So why is it so important with prevention? And I apologize for reading slides. I feel like that's what I'm doing, but really the data is important. So you may have, again, have heard, if you can get young adults to remain substance abuse free before the age of 18, they're less likely, to move on with a substance abuse issue. 16% of 8th graders use marijuana. Over 20% of high school seniors have smoked in the last month. 32% of students 7th to 9th grade were at high risk for substance misuse. And a lot of this is coming from our community health assessments. 58% risk of smoking. You can see the percentages there for drinking, marijuana use, prescription drug use. And we'll hear a lot around that. In fact, there's a stat, and I should have looked it up before we got that we started speaking, but there's a very high percentage of young adults that become addicted to prescription medications through, when I say this, dentists are not bad. I need to add that caveat, but getting teeth pulled and or sports injuries. And again, these are probably things that you've heard. So very innocent, where a parent wouldn't necessarily, have that concern because the doctor or the dentist is, providing this medication, but then, the young adult doesn't know that their disposition towards that, potentially that drug, but until they use it. So there's other ways that our young people, end up, down a path of addiction as well. So when we talk about education, it's so much more than, the things that I've even mentioned today. So, and teens who consistently learn about the risk of drug use from their parents are 50% less likely to use them. So I know that I've been at events at the high school where we've set up the, I don't know if you've heard it, but it's called In Plain Sight, and it's a teenager's bedroom, and it has all of the different paraphernalia, magazines, whether it be a poster or a teddy bear where, drugs may be hidden. And consistently what I hear from parents is, I don't have to worry about that. I don't have to worry about that. My child wouldn't do that. Again, if you've heard, some of the stories, I know the young man that I lost in my life, you never would have known that there was a problem or an issue there either. So again, it's back to, educating those parents that the more you talk about this and the more awareness that you bring to your home, the higher possibility, for that prevention. So we have gotten great support from this community. You can see there the Greater Fostoria Community Foundation, the Henry Geary Memorial Fund, ProMedica, as well as Tri-County Dental Center, and our support is still rolling in. So there is a cost to be part of the Drug-Free Clubs of America, and then the draw for employees employees, listen to me, the draw for the students is not only the membership, but also the incentives. So we're still working on incentives and making asks within the community for those incentives. Obviously, those kids, if we're able to offer a discount at a restaurant or a discount on a haircut, you name it. I even know there's a school that those students that remain in the program for the 4 years, their name is thrown into a drawing at the end of the year when they graduate, and they whoever the winner is receives a 2-year lease for an automobile. So there's all different types of things that you can do with those incentives, but we've covered the cost per member. Usually, I know in Tiffin, the members have a $15 fee that they pay, but they also have scholarships available. So just that there's a little bit of teeth in the game for the students, but what we didn't want to do was hinder participation, year one. So we worked really hard on getting those grants and dollars and funding so that we could cover the cost for up to 150 students, although we hope that we'll have more than 150. So there is random drug testing throughout the year. The club provides an output for positive, or an outlet for positive attitude. So as we do activities within the school or on test day, whether it's random drug testing or the state testing, if you will, just for another example, these students will have ambassadors. They'll be recognized with t-shirts that they can wear so everyone knows who is part of the club. And our goal is to really make this a very, elite, prestigious club, something that, again, these students want to be a part of. We feel that recognizing students for academics is important, recognizing students for sports is important, but I'm okay with telling you that I think it's even more important to recognize students that may not have the grades, may not have the athletic ability, but make a commitment to stay substance abuse free for 4 years. And how are we going to recognize them? So they will receive a special seal on their diploma that they'll be able to take to employers and say, here I am. For the last 4 years, I remain substance abuse free. That they have a special cord. We've talked to the mayor about doing some type of parade or special recognition in town for these students. And then again, we talked about the community-based rewards. So if you're a company or someone you think would want to participate in this program and support our students, and again, there's a myriad of ways that you can do that. I've shared our forms and letters and communication additional details with Sarah. And she has assured me that she's going to make sure that you all receive those and that they will be posted. So we would, again, welcome any feedback or support. Here's some examples. I know with Manel Milling, I mean, I'm excited about this program because we can stay connected again to these students that are going to graduate and be drug-free. And we know that, and any employer in Fostoria knows that a local young person is more likely to stay, here in town. So we're going to open up, so many entry-level positions. They'll still have to come and interview and work through our regular process, but we're going to commit to attempting to hire some of these folks as they come out of high school. So I think it's a great thing for our employers too, and we're still touching base with them. But if you're an employer on the call and you think your company wants to be connected like this, it's certainly will be competing for the same folks. But at the end of the day, each of these young people is going to desire to do something a little bit different. They may prefer to work at a Ropey versus a Manel, but we all win, if we keep these young people, in town and productive and free of substance abuse. So we can donate gift cards. I talked about the discount. I know Manel, we've talked about going in during testing day and having Dunkin' Donuts set up so the kids, go take their test, then they get excused from their classroom and they can go down to cafeteria, the gymnasium, wherever we would host that. As Manel staff, we get to talk with them, stay connected, talk to them about what we do at Manel, but we're also passing out the Dunkin' Donuts, which who doesn't like Dunkin' Donuts? So there's a link to our form. Sarah has this presentation. Here's all of our connectivity. So we are quasi housed in the United Way office, so we don't have a physical location. So Shelly works from home, but we do have an email address. Shelly has a direct email address. You can see hopeandfostoria.com. We have a P.O. box that you can send items to. We have Facebook. I would challenge or request you to go on, if you are on Facebook, to like our Facebook page. We do stay actively engaged. And here's slide number 12, the one that I said I didn't want to share with you as long as you promised. Well, hopefully you will see all the wonderful names there. Renee Smith with FEDC, several individuals with the schools, Ed Sheeter with Reineke Ford in Abate of Ohio. He is very much involved with motorcyclists and how they support actions or causes such as our own. Andrea from the bank, we do have a recovery advocate on our board, Mr. Bell from the Fostoria Police Department, and hopefully I did Amy from the hospital. Julie works with me now at Manel. I recruited her from the hospital too. Laura Ritzler, if you know Laura, was formerly with in the wellness department at ProMedica for many years. And Bethany Sanford, who is with the Fostoria City School. So a very, again, large, diverse board. And I forgot Libra. Sorry, I was jumping around. Libra and Mary and the Reverend Bernie Dixon. I shouldn't have jumped around there, but I just wanted to make sure that I pointed out really the diversity of the folks that we have on the board. And we are always open to additional board members and volunteers. And here's just a quote from the author of Dreamland, which really just says, again, if we're going to break down the barriers and solve this epidemic, it really is a community effort. And that's what we're attempting to do. We're excited about going from a grassroots green effort to a nonprofit to a community coalition. And there was some recent news that broke too, that the Mental Health and Recovery Services Board will be growing. They'll be adding another county. So we're kind of scared and excited about that all at the same time. This is really a perfect example of we all kind of had this vision and dream, and it came true. So we're hoping that you all can continue to support us, and I can open it up for any questions that you might have. I'm going to try to, if I can't see you all again, because now I can't see your faces. Oh, there you are. Now I can see you, but now you're not on mute. Okay.
Does anyone have any questions for Autumn or Shelley? And as Autumn mentioned, I do have some resources that I will send you at the conclusion of the meeting. I'll include Autumn's presentation, as well as a couple links she sent me and some information about the Drug-Free Clubs of America as well. So in that will be their contact information. But as always, if you have follow-up questions, I'm sure you can feel free to reach out to Autumn, or you can reach out to me and I can put you in touch with her as well. So last chance for questions. Well, thank you, ladies. Appreciate all the hard work you've done in bringing this dream of many into a reality. And Shelley, welcome.
Thank you.
We're so glad to have you on board. And just as a wrap-up reminder for the group, remember September, our topic is Arc Flash. And if you have any needs or have any questions between now and then, please let me know. It looks like I don't have anybody on here except for Dave and myself from the steering committee. So we will just move that meeting to an email exchange, and everybody have a wonderful and safe day. Thanks so much.
Yeah.